What's up, YouTube? This is Mikey C here, and today I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. I'm normally doing NFL stuff, draft stuff, but I'm gonna go ahead and just put my first NBA prospects, even though I'm not quite sure what's going on, whether the season's gonna start back up, try to finish out the season. I'm hearing a whole bunch of things about them all going to Vegas and finish out the season, and then trying to start the next season around Christmas time. Hey, as long as we get to see some sports, I'm ready. Cause I'm sure everybody is. More importantly, I'm hoping everybody out there is safe. Do what you can to stay safe, protect your family, and all that. Before we get started with the rest of this video, though, if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Leave some comments. Tell me what you think. So today I'm going to give you my top 20 NBA prospect rankings. I'm going to go from 20 to 1. I'm kind of break it up here a little bit. I'm a huge basketball fan, New York Knicks fan. Go Knicks. Not too much proud to be of that team of late, but hopefully in the near future we'll see something different. So let's get this started. At number 20, I have Jalen Smith out of Maryland. Big guy, strong physical presence, can play the power forward or center position. Reminds me of a PJ Brown, for those that don't remember him, with the Nets and the Heat. A little bit more towards the end of his career, though, where he could, pop out and do a pick and roll or pop out and hit threes or whatnot. I think Jalen Smith has that capability of doing that, and I see him being, in the middle to the late end of the NBA draft this year. Next up, pictured here, we have Precious Achiuwa. Forward type, can play either or. He's got the length, he's got the bounce. I see him as a Mo Harkless right now in the league. He's a little bit bigger than him. I also see him probably even play more power forward, but can be a small ball center if even needed, because he does have some length to him. Only one season at Memphis, so he's got still some to learn. A lot of these guys come out after 1 year, and it takes them a season or two to get a little bit more seasoned. And I feel like with Precious, that's going to be the case. But in the end, he'll be a solid contributor on a team in the 6, 7, 8-man role. Next up, out of Kansas, Udoka Azubuike, 6'11", 270-pound, physical specimen at playing center there. He's a great rim protector. He could have more blocks. I think he also gets in a little too much foul trouble. He's not going to out-jump anybody, but he doesn't need to with his length. Kind of got like the Eddie Curry mold, early 2000s, late 2000s. Not the prolific scorer Eddie Curry had the capability of, but Udoka definitely has the ability to be someone that can be counted on for maybe a 14 and 10 a night with maybe a couple blocks a game. He's going to be a contributor on one of those teams that need an anchored defensive guy at the rim and who can help you get some rebounds and block some shots. Next up, 17th ranked Leo Meldon. He is the French version of SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Although SGA is, I think, a stud. Clippers kind of missed out on that trading in Oklahoma City, but you do get Paul George. So if they were to have won a championship this year, it would have been worth it, but you kind of mortgage your future with that. And I think Theo Maledon, he has that game about him. We just don't see enough of him because he is in France. I've saw some videos of him, and he actually is pretty solid, and I think it's a pretty good comparison. So it'll be interesting to see where he lands in this draft. Next, we got Isaiah Stewart, Husky from Washington. He is, and I'm gonna bring up some players from the '90s, early 2000s. Just guys that I remember growing up playing, watching play. But Isaiah Stewart is just almost an exact clone of Antonio Davis back for the Pacers. Guy played for the Pacers. He played for the Knicks at some point, I believe. He kind of was a journeyman towards the end of his career, but he's got that stout, physical, no nonsense type. He's gonna stand up for this team, fight for every rebound. He's not going to give you that much scoring, which Isaiah would, compared to what Antonio Davis did. He's not going to jump out the gym and help you on the defense, but He's someone that will stand his ground, get the rebound, solid two-way player because he can score on the offensive end. So I'm another guy I'm kind of really interested in seeing where he lands because if he gets in the right system where he is not counted on, he can do a lot of garbage cleanup around the rim. He can be a very great find in this draft. Next, we got Vernon Carey out of Duke. I'm going with another lefty comparison here, guy from my favorite college team, Syracuse, back in the day, Derek Coleman. I think Vernon Carey is more of a stout player, though, not as finesse as Derek Coleman is, but he does have some same attributes to his game. Lefty similarities are there. I think he could even be like a Sam Perkins type guy, just sit in the corner hitting threes towards Sam Perkins end of his career. But Vernon Carey, he is great around the basket. He doesn't miss anything. Great hands, keeps the ball up. He's someone that will also pop out. Great pick and roll player. He is someone that I think is going to sneak into the lottery. We'll see what happens this summer if they are able to do a combine and all that, which we see what the NFL is going through now. I think the offseason will help Vernon Carey, who he just declared, I believe, today or yesterday, will help his draft stock, and I think he ends up being in the back end of that lottery this year. Next, we got a guy I got him kind of low on my board compared to a lot of people due to his injury, but Tyrese Halliburton, Ohio State is, I hate to say this, he's a LaMelo Ball clone, but he doesn't have the ugliness to his game that LaMelo does. But at the same time, LaMelo's a great. He doesn't get enough credit in what he was doing this year with Zion in New Orleans and getting out of the limelight of LA. LaMelo's turned his career. When it comes to Tyrese Halliburton, this guy, he may not have the IQ, but I think he's got the explosiveness. I think he's a better shooter than LaMelo. He is someone that can be scary good in the open court. And if his injury doesn't be persistent in the NBA, he could be one of those fresh rookies that come out and put up some numbers. Next, we got Killian Hayes, another France product, and I'm gonna compare him to another France guy, Dante Exum. He never, while he's been in the NBA, he's with Utah, and he didn't get enough TV pub being on the West Coast. I know Utah's not West Coast, but it's considered West Coast. He didn't get enough pub. Now he's kind of bounced around. He's not a bad player, Dante Exum, but Killian Hayes has got speed for days. And that's why I compared him to Dante, because for the size that he is, if he can control it and finish around the rim better and pick up his true point guard IQ, because Killian's actually a pretty good shooter, he can be a solid sleeper, even though it's a lottery pick, because there's only 60 picks in the draft, so you can start sleepers at 10, 12, 13. And I think Killian is going to be the guy that surprises some when it gets into the NBA. Just like number 12, Tyrese Maxey. I kind of slept on him this year. I didn't really see too much college basketball this year due to work, family obligations and such. But when I did watch some tape, I saw a mixture of players with him in the beginning. Like I saw a young Dwayne Wade in him. I saw a Rajon Rondo. But I think the guy that he's going to be in the NBA, and I'm probably going to be off base on this, but I think he has the capability of, is a Lou Williams. I think this guy can be a six-man, come out and just drop 20, 30 any given time. Even like the Jamal Crawford. But I didn't want to compare him to that because Jamal Crawford's just, you can't compare to him. I don't think there'll ever be someone like him. He just was putting up 50-point games for 3, 4, 5 different NBA franchises. So Tyrese Maxey, I think, is going to be the next Lou Williams. And Lou Williams had a solid career coming out of high school. So 11, Jaden McDaniels out of Washington. He didn't have the freshman year that people expected him to have, but it was still pretty solid. Washington had a down year, one of the worst in the Pac-12. But he, as a player, stood out. Got a lot of Jonathan Isaac comparisons. I don't think he's on that level yet. Jonathan Isaac is finally starting to really, light bulb turned on. So Jaden McDaniels, I think, can be that type of player. Even a Brandon Ingram, but Brandon Ingram is way too talented to really compare Jaden McDaniels. But he's kind of in the same mold, same build. Jaden McDaniels, give him because he is only a freshman. He gets on a great coaching staff, tutors him, give him a year, a solid season to learn such, and he can be a player to watch out for in the NBA. At 10, this guy kind of slept on. He crept up on me quick because he was a sleeper. I had no idea about this guy, and I started reading some other, watching some other videos, reading other sports magazines, and he is Kendrick Perkins, but more offensive talent. I think he can be what everybody wanted Kendrick to be, but Kendrick did what he did, and got rings for it. Daniel Oturu is a guy that is better offensively minded and can put up, I think, and obviously this is my opinion. I think he can be a 16 to 10 guy throughout his career. He's another guy that said he's a late riser, so is he just gonna be a 1 year wonder? Is he gonna be a workout star, or is he actually gonna put it all together? But my hopes for him, my ceiling for him is a 16-10 guy in the NBA. Floor is a Kendrick Perkins. And Kendrick Perkins hung around the league for at least a decade. Next, we got R.J. Hampton. The guy coming out was and they're going to Australia with another guy on this draft board here. Didn't really do what people expect him to do out there, but still was pretty solid. He is a Jamal Murray type, but like the combo point guard, shooting guard, but he's not the sharpshooter Murray is. But I think R.J. Hampton has definitely got the ability in him to be someone that can be very, very efficient in this league. Being in a top 10 draft this year, a team's going to get a very explosive player that just puts up buckets. So a team needing an offensive punch off the bench, he could be another guy like a Tyrese Maxey that just comes in and ends up being a great six-man throughout his career, but he's going to hang around for a dozen years, I believe. Cole Anthony, former Knick Greg Anthony's son, definitely not the same player as his father. Actually, I think he's going to be better, way better. Explosiveness. UNC had a down year. I'm not going to put it all on Cole Anthony, but he's definitely got some talent. I see a lot of Austin Rivers in him. He's not as big as Austin Rivers, but I see a lot of Austin Rivers in him. Cole's just got more bounce, and I think he's got more control, and he isn't greedy. Austin Rivers, I think, is more greedy. Cole actually give the ball up, and be more of a playmaker. And I think that's what's going to keep him in the lottery. I see a lot of mock drafts have him going to the Knicks. As much as I think he's going to be a solid player, I don't want to see him on the team. Not right now, anyway. But at this point, if he's going to help us win, cool. But I think Cole Anthony is going to be a solid player right out the gate. At 7, Isaac Okoro, Auburn. This guy is a solid player, and there's so many people I want to compare him to because he's just got that it factor. Not a perennial NBA All-Star. I'm not saying future Hall of Famer, but he's just got that it factor where he's talked about, but he's not putting up 20, 30, 40-point games. He's going to be a player that's going to be like a Andre Iguodala or a Kelly Oubre, actually. Kelly Oubre without the shot right now. Oubre also, he came out early out of Kansas, and it took him a little bit to start blooming. And he was starting to blow up for Arizona this year, or Phoenix Suns this year. So I think Isaac Okoro's got that capability. And I think the sky is really the limit for this kid. I think he could be an eventual All-Star. Maybe not, continuously, but he could be a key cog to a team, like a glue guy. And he's a guy that I think every team would want. So at 6, I have Onyeka Okongwu. Sorry if I said that wrong. This guy is impressive, to say the least. Around the rim, he's a shot blocking machine, rebounding machine, and he's a more offensive Montrezl Harrell, I think. Undersized center. I think he's going to play more of a center in this league, and a lot of teams are gearing more playing that small ball type. So this guy on the Rockets would be a perfect fit because that's what seems like what they want. They got guys playing 6'6", playing center right now. So or was when the league, before the league stopped. And this guy, I think he's oozing with talent, oozing with potential, and he could end up being a top 5 pick, but I have him possibly being in the sixth best on the board. And Okongwu out of USC, 6'9", 235 pound, built, very muscular build, solid, holds his ground, and he'll if he falls out of the top 10, I would be shocked. Next up, we have in my mind, the best overseas prospect, Israeli, Denny Avdija. I believe that's how you say it. 6'8", 210. You can already say that he could be like a Hedo Turkoglu or Peja Stojakovic, any of those guys. But I'm going to compare him to an American guy, and I think he's a Mike Miller. And Mike Miller, a guy that was a lottery pick out of Florida for the Magic back in the early 2000s. Had a solid career. He even got a championship with Miami, and now he's coaching. So I see Denny being a player like him, that caliber. He's a scorer. A guy can score. His defense is pretty good. He can play 3 positions. Like you want to play him at the 2 guard and have a big lineup. You can put him at power forward in a small lineup. He's solid. He can play all over the board. Very talented. Very team oriented as well. Not the Luka Doncic type, but he's going to be someone that can be that guy that can also play point if needed. So he's the best overseas prospect in my book, and don't be surprised if he is a top 3 pick. Next up, everybody has this guy number 1. Everybody's just so in love with this guy. Anthony Edwards, shooting guard out of Georgia, 6'4", 225, stout build. His tape is nice. I agree. I mean, he's got some talent in him, but I'm not sold on him yet. He doesn't have that it factor for me yet. His ceiling to me is a Donovan Mitchell, and that's solid. Donovan Mitchell's having a great young career so far. I just don't see him being consistent enough right now to really deserve that number 1 overall pick. It's just something about him. It just doesn't click to me, and I hope he proves me wrong, because the light just hasn't come on for him yet. But I think he can be a very scary scorer in the NBA. Maybe even being a Russell Westbrook type if he can be the playmaker, because he's got the build, he's got the explosiveness, he's scoring. He's a better shooter than Russell Westbrook was coming out. So. But I see him as a Donovan Mitchell right now, and that's not a bad thing to be. But he's not my number 1 ranked prospect. I have him at number 4. My top 3, and number 1 is going to surprise a lot of people. And who the draft nerds that do know who is coming into this draft may know who the top 3 left are. May not have them the way I have them, but at number 3, I have James Wiseman. He was the number 1 ranked player for most of the season, and then he, all the BS that happened at Memphis. So he had to, stop playing there. But he is DeAndre Jordan mixed with Dwight Howard, mixed with just he's got a grown man game. He's got great defense. He can score around the rim. I see him developing offensively and becoming a old school center with a new school twist. It's not far-fetched right now to see him possibly, if he gets the right coaching, developing into like a David Robinson, because he's just that athletic and long and explosive. That's why I'm kind of comparing to more of a Dwight Howard, because Dwight Howard, that's actually probably the best comparison. But right now, until he gets a little bit better offensively, he's a DeAndre Jordan floor with probably a Dwight Howard ceiling in the early career, because Dwight fell off. So I have Wiseman number 3. Any team that gets him, and I'm seeing the Cavs, which you have him and Drummond, I don't know, maybe they want to go all big with 3 point guards. So I don't know, the unique ways teams are playing right now. Yeah, but Wiseman's gonna be a solid player right out the gate, I believe. Next up, We got the last ball player, last ball brother, LaMelo Ball, over there in Australia. He is definitely surprised me. I didn't think he was ever going to be even talked about as a potential first round pick, let alone even arguably as the number one. So I have him at number 2, great size, 6'7", 190. He is a point guard, just like his brother, Lonzo. So if he can just play like his brother right now, he's going to have a solid career. But I think he's actually going to be better. I truly think he is. Right now, I see him like more of like a Sean Livingston before the injury, and Sean Livingston ended up having a decent career, but he did lose his explosiveness. But I see similarities in his game with him. Just LaMelo's a better shooter. He'll probably end up being like Lonzo Ball. Some draft experts have him compared to a Penny Hardaway, Penny was great before the injuries. Arguably could have been one of the great top 20 players of all time. He was on his way. So I don't see LaMelo that far, but he's definitely talented, and he's going to be a starter out the gate, and he's going to surprise a lot of people. And then last but not least, the guy that I truly believe was going to lead his team to the Final Four, possibly even win it, Obi Toppin. This guy, wow. Before the season, I heard a little bit about him, and then I just started watching game tapes of him, and I couldn't get enough watching his film. This guy is unbelievable. I love his heart, his hustle, his drive, his motivation. He gets a little bit more offensive repertoire to his game, and he's going to be scary. I truly think he's the number 1 ranked player coming out. You just draft him. I don't care if you don't need a power forward or small forward. Draft him number 1, whoever gets him, and he can just be a glue guy in the beginning or garbage guy, and then eventually he could be a go-to guy like a Kawhi Leonard. Not comparing to Kawhi Leonard. I see more of an Amari Stoudemire, just not as big. Maybe Kawhi, not as his handle isn't as nice, but Obi Toppin is going to be an amazing NBA player. I think he's going to be an all-star for years to come. Even if you actually can find some film on Len Bias, and I know that's crazy to think because we know Len Bias never got into the NBA, but there was talk of him being better than Michael Jordan, that is. But Len Bias and Obi Toppin, there's some similarities there. But if Obi can get a good mid-range, even a perimeter game, I don't know what the ceiling is for this guy. I think his floor is Amari Stoudemire right now. So all I'm going to say is watch out. Whoever ends up drafting him, watch out. Solid player. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Please, everybody, stay safe. I'm going to get a whole bunch of football videos out before the draft. Hope everybody likes them. Take care of everybody. I appreciate who all that do watch. Eventually, once we figure out what's going on with the NBA, I'm going to get a little bit more into that, especially after the NFL draft. But I have fun making these. I know it's been about a week or so since I did get one out, but just pay attention to Facebook, or I'm sorry, to YouTube. It's late here, getting tired. So everybody just be safe. Take care of your loved ones, and I hope everybody has a good night.